Hi, I'm Chris from ChannelX, here today with Sarah Bryant from eBay. Welcome, Sarah. To discuss some tips on listing on eBay. So, lots of people sell on eBay, but so many people could be selling better. And today we just want to talk through some of the things that you can do to make your listings better. And why do you want that? Because it will increase sales. So, Sarah, tell us, first of all, what are some of the biggest mistakes people make with listings? They're just general things that they could be doing better, and what difference would it actually make to their sales?
Yeah, so we see a number of mistakes or kind of user errors when it comes to listing things on eBay. Now, there's a couple of things that I suggest that people take into consideration. Firstly is the item titles, because that is the H1 tag from a search engine optimization perspective. Both search within on eBay, but then also search from search engine perspective. The second piece is images and making sure that there are enough images. The third piece is then the item specifics, and then the fourth piece is then the description. So some of the issues that we see is that they're not descriptive enough. A great example I have of this is one that I use in some of the eBay business roadshows, is that I met a gentleman who was selling fantastic jewellery on eBay. He was selling a £6,000 gold diamond ring, nice. Which was stunning. And in his description, he had written diamond gold ring.
So
yes.
Nothing about how many carats of the diamond,
exactly,
or how pure the gold was.
Exactly that. And the reality is the item description is your opportunity to really sell the item, give everybody all of the information that you haven't been able to do in the images, the titles, or the item specifics. So really invest in the description. The second biggest issue we see is the number of images. So images have a number of great benefits. So first and foremost, they really empower the purchase decision. So the more images, the better. And the second piece is they reduce returns. So we see that the more images you have can actually reduce returns by up to 35 to 40%. And none of us like returns. And so it's a really good idea, specifically when it comes to items that are potentially slightly damaged or clothing that has marks, etc., to just take as many photos and load them on to ensure that people know exactly what it is that they're going to receive when they place the order.
And does that apply just to things like clothes, that it's quite easy to have lots of angles? I mean, my shirt, you could tie in on the collar and the cuffs and the number of buttons and that, but when it's something really generic, like a 64-bit gig USB stick or something, do you really need more than one photo for that? Is it a good idea to have more?
I would suggest it, A, because our algorithm prefers more images, but secondly, it's also a good opportunity to show the item in scale. So your first image should always be on a white background, because Google Shopping likes white backgrounds. From there, it's great to show scale, it's great to sell the dream. Granted, on a 64-bit memory card, how do you sell the dream of it inserting into a camera? But it's a really good idea to show the scale item, maybe place it next to a 50p coin, so on and so forth. So irrespective of how generic and plain the item might be, the more images, certainly the better.
And eBay letting us put videos on our eBay shop and our listings now. Is that something we should be doing? If we are going to do it, does it need to be kind of BBC production quality, or is it kind of TikTok handheld quality? Should it be a different video on every listing? Should we use a generic one, or should we use one per category? What's your advice there?
So yeah, videos are something that in the modern day, right, people just want to see. People want to see videos of their item. It has the same impact as multiple images in that it empowers the purchasing decision and makes sure that whoever might be buying it know exactly what they're going to receive when they do receive it. So firstly, if you can do separate videos per item, fantastic, and I think it's probably more pertinent for certain items like clothing that, where you have a model or you do a twirl or you show different aspects and how the fabric might fall is certainly more beneficial. The other beauty of adding videos to listings that don't have to be item specific is you can tell your brand story. As a small business, you might have invested loads of time and effort and money, frankly, into your operation. Tell the story, because the emotive part of shopping is still very prominent, and actually being able to do that with your videos and then listing that same video against each listing can have a really positive impact on that purchase.
And specifically on video quality, what should people be looking for studio quality, or is it just a quick, natural sit behind a desk with the product? Is that okay? Do you have any idea which works best? And people worry about the cost because it costs a fortune to get good pictures, quite frankly, on a white background.
Yeah.
Surely video is going to be even more expensive.
Yeah, so I don't think any buyers or certainly eBay are expecting studio quality videos. If you can do that because you're investing in those sorts of videos for your other channels, then great. But I think it's just more important about the actual content on the video. So instead of it looking good, it just needs to be informative. There are no kind of algorithmic importance with regards to, the size of the video, the clarity of the video. We certainly aren't going to hold that against any of the listings. It's more just a powerful, empowering way to drive that purchase.
And I suppose I should really let people know I'm actually recording this on my mobile phone, so mobile phone quality is more than good.
Indeed, we've got it on a very steady tripod, and that's doing the job. So absolutely ideal.
And you mentioned item specifics, and I've got to be honest, every seller I speak to hates them, mostly because they change so often, or when there's a category change or there's new ones come in. How much effort should we be putting on them? And I know there's mandatory ones, there's advisory ones, there's optional ones. What difference do they actually make to my sales? And especially if I've got kind of the keywords in the title, do I need them in the item specifics as well? Often I'm told if they're in the item specifics, you don't have to put them in the title, but that probably just leaves me with gold ring in the title. What's your advice there?
So item specifics are important, and the reason that they change so much is because consumers' behaviours change so much. So 1 minute, a great example here is somebody might be looking for a bucket in gardening. And therefore we need to make sure that item is under the item specific of where the bucket is going to be sitting within the gardening category. It could change 3 months later, out of gardening season, and now people are actually buying those buckets within the DIY category, the DIY section. So that's why they change so regularly. So it's definitely worth the investment. We're not just trying to annoy our sellers, we're just trying to make sure that we're on top of the consumer trends and movements. The second reason why they're very important is because that is how people refine on the left navigation of eBay. So they might put in the example, bucket, and then they're probably then delivered anywhere between 1 to 2 million listings of buckets, right? What they might be looking for is a specific size, a specific colour, and that's where they use the item specifics on the left.
The last one I was looking for, I needed a metal one because I was going to be putting hot stuff in it, so plastic's not going to cut it.
Exactly, and therefore you probably use the left navigation to be able to refine. So that's another reason why it's important, because if you haven't completed those when the buyer is refining, your item just drops off, right, if it's not applicable. Now, I do also appreciate that there are a lot of item specifics that aren't, that make no sense for the item. And that's just obviously the algorithm trying to understand consumer behaviour, etc., and trying to make sure that we're capturing when we can. What's important to do in those ones is to complete with not applicable, or when it comes to brand, is unbranded, and that ensures that there's no issues with any of your search relevance and any listing optimization perspective. But definitely recommend you do complete, and we do see a significant GMV overperformance, sales overperformance, if you do complete those item specifics.
So we've talked a little bit about the actual listing, but there's all sorts of promotional tools with eBay that I'd like to dig into a little bit. There's promoted listings, there's coupon codes, there's email marketing. Which of those works absolutely the best across the board? And have you got any tips for using those? Like promoted listings, should I just promote everything at the minimum 2%, or should I be bidding higher on some? On coupon codes, what's the best way of using those? When you're offering discounts for multi-buy, multiple purchases, which of those are your favourite tools for advising people to use? And obviously it can't do everything all of the time, but where should I get started and why? Yeah,
so frankly each of them have a different, they meet a different need. And therefore I wouldn't sit here and recommend one over the other. I'd say they're all evenly important across various different product types and different times, different seasonality, so on and so forth. So from a promoted listings perspective, definitely have a strategy on your promoted listings. I wouldn't sit here and say, unless you are selling 100% of your items are fast moving goods that you're fighting with multiple other competitors, I wouldn't suggest that you, in that instance, I would suggest, sorry, that you do use promoted listings on everything, but 9 times out of 10 our sellers aren't in that situation, so they need to have the right strategy when it comes to promoted listings. Now, some of the things that I've seen successful in promoted listings is using a bit of a loss leader approach, where you over invest on certain items within your catalogue and across your inventory to really grow them, see them at the top of the search relevance, because then that actually has a really positive impact across the rest of your listings. Sometimes people will just bid on things that are super competitive to ensure that they're obviously relevant within that space. More often than not, those sellers do then seem to find that actually that then also has a positive impact across the rest of their business as well. So you have to be really strategic about where you use promoted listings. However, nonetheless, they are key. So it's definitely something understanding in depth and understanding how you can operate.
And there's 3 different types of promoted listings now?
Yes, there are lots of different promoted listings. And they've been created and launched to ensure that we're supporting various different categories and where it's important. So obviously there's the pay-per-click, then there's the pay once purchased, etc. But like I said, very important to have a strategic overview on how you're going to use promoted listings to drive the right behaviour.
And I'm really interested in that kind of halo effect, that by having heavy promoted listings on some of your items, it increases views and sales across all of your items.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, because you're then growing your overall customer base. So then you can drive marketing activity to that customer base. But secondly, if you have items within your catalogue that really start to show huge amount of velocity, then the algorithm then looks at the rest of your inventory and starts to favour that, because you as a seller are realising much better views and a much better performance from a sales perspective. So it has a halo in multiple different ways, and utilising and understanding that and using it to the best of your ability is super important. And that's why having a strategy on promoted listings is super key. So then in there I touched a little bit about how you can use some of the marketing activity to then build. So there's all sorts of things here, from your storefront to your newsletter to, buyer communication, etc. And then some of the promoted items such as coupons, multi-buy play into this as well. But it's really important to drive repeat purchase, and it's really important to drive new purchase. And actually, by growing your overall customer base, by utilising promoted listings, it gives you a much wider reach of people that you can reach out to on a regular basis with exclusive promos, exclusive coupons, just telling your story, building your brand, etc. And you can very easily tie that into both the communication that you send on eBay, but also into your social media strategy as well. And loads of the things that we've changed recently on eBay, from shopfront to a listing perspective, enable that share on your social media. So if you are launching a new product, or if you are launching a new range, or you've got your hands on, a new type of product, a new item, then you can utilize the share function on social media to highlight that to previous buyers and potentially reach a new audience as well. And then where that comes into really its own is when you use a coded coupon, or if you use a multi-buy or an order discount. Now, obviously all of these things have to be used in the right way. A great example I have of multi-buy being used incorrectly was as part of our Startup Scale-Up program, which is a program where we support brand new sellers that launch the platform, help them realise as much success as possible. We were working with a heatings supplier who'd started selling on eBay, and he was selling tiles for heated floor.
Yeah.
And I think they come in about 50 by 50 centimetres off the top of my head. And he was selling one of those tiles for, hypothetically £5, 2 for £4.99, 3 for £4.98, and actually not quite as an incremental step as that. But there's 2 issues there, right? One, nobody's going to buy tiles that are 50 by 50 in increments of 1, 2 or 3 unless they're heating the world's smallest room, of course. And secondly, the step of reduction and discount there wasn't enough to really entice the purchase. So we managed to change his listing, so it was like 500 for £4 each, 1,000 for 4, I think it was 75 each. So it was a really good incremental discount where if customers did trade up and buy more, then they got a lot more. And that's all about understanding that obviously cash is king in these instances. His sales increased week on week, something unbelievable, like 357%, and the item, just by investing in the right tool at the right time. And then another seller that we worked with in that instance was in a separate category, but they were selling swimming pools. Now, not the big swimming pools, although I'm sure we do sell those on eBay, but the
paddling pool
exactly the large paddling pools, and he had a multi-buy on them. If you buy if you buy two, we'll give you X% off. And I don't know that many people who are going to buy multiple paddling pools.
I don't know how many people whose gardens are big enough.
Exactly. And so we were obviously able to work with them and just say, instead of doing a multi-buy, use an order discount in that instance. So it's just about understanding the right tool and the right functionality. So
buy the swimming pool along with the pump and the cleaning equipment and maybe some lilos or something, and increase the order quantity that way. Indeed,
create bundles, which is also really successful. And that's actually where a coded coupon can come in helpful, because at the moment, on eBay, right, it's quite difficult to create bundle functionality. So what you can do with a coded coupon is you can choose within your store which items go into a coded coupon. So in that example, you could say, let's put the swimming pool in there, let's put the ladder, let's put the pump, let's put the the heater lid or whatever else you need for swimming pools. Let's put all of that into one coupon and say, if you buy all of this together, you will get 5% off the total order price. That's then something that you can share on social media. It's something you can share with previous buyers, and then it really increases your overall your basket size, but then also your purchases.
Fantastic. Sarah, we've talked about quite a lot, and not everyone watching this is going to have the privilege of sitting down with you. Where can people go to find more of this type of information? I know you've got eBay roadshows, which there's a couple of left this year, and hopefully you're going to do next year, but not everyone can get to those. Where can they go, and what programs have you got to help people learn?
Sure. So, and I'll tell a bit of a story here. So we launched the Startup Scale Up program, and we launched the ProTrader program, which is one-to-one support for sellers. Now, the Startup Scale Up program is for brand new sellers on eBay. The ProTrader program is for our more tenured sellers, and the way that invitations happen for those programs is when we look at certain categories, we look at the sellers within those, and we invite those sellers to join the program. But the learnings that we've taken out of those programs, where we've supported a lot of sellers but not enough, is that we needed to have a much more systematic way for sellers to learn and understand all of these things that we're teaching them during these programs. And so we launched eBay Academy. So eBay Academy has been it's been on live, I guess, for about a year now. We're constantly adding new content, but the content on there is not just for new sellers, but it's there's advanced courses, there's intermediate courses, and there's beginners courses. And when I've spoken to new sellers, they've thought, great, I've taken all of the courses, I know where I am now, and I know where I want to get to. And then even when I've spoken to well-tenured sellers who've been selling on the platform for 12, 15 years, they've looked at the content and they've thought two things. One, it's reinforced that they're doing some things correctly, which is great. But two, they have learned some things that, despite their long tenure of selling on the platform, they didn't realise were important. So hopefully a
lot of things have changed over the last 10 or 15 years.
Exactly. And we obviously keep all the content, really up to date. When things change across seller updates, etc., the content on there is changed. So it's really beneficial for all sellers, despite size, despite tenure. And like I said, it's all about taking all of those things that we walk sellers through in those programs, but accessible to everybody.
So Startup and ProTrader, if you get an invite, accept it.
Absolutely.
I know they're great programs.
Yes, we hear really great things.
eBay Academy, where can I find it?
So the link is academy.ebay.com. However, you will also be able to find it if you search within Google eBay Academy. It comes up to a page where you can link through to eBay Academy that way. We are hoping to continue our investment in eBay Academy with new courses, and also hopefully integration into Seller Hub as well, so it becomes even easier for sellers to find.
Fantastic. So eBay Academy is your place to go. But Sarah, thank you so much for your time today.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you, Chris.